Big Kel
Big Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah.
For sure. Nagaspinji diri makunya biri naziri.
Proud Johnny, proud Johnny.
Hey,
Welcome, episode 19 of Big Kel
And Kahuna.
I'm Kelly,
And I'm Alec.
and it's, I guess, Wednesday the 30th. We missed
The 30th.
the recording on Saturday. We had a couple things come up, but we'll get this one recorded and out in one day, and we'll go from there.
Yes.
So recaps from last week, nothing major.
No, there was no Formula One event.
No, not last week, and it's the,
No
I
good
think
fights.
Liverpool won the Premier League.
I don't watch soccer.
Yeah. They had the NFL draft, but I mean, the recap from our shows, nothing of significance.
No.
We got F1 in Miami this week.
It's in Miami?
It's in Miami.
Oh, wow. You know, last time I was in Miami, a platter that feeds 4 people is going for $800
Yeah.
of burgers and chicken tenders.
It's a ripoff. That's unfortunately with a lot of these events.
Yeah,
It's
because they can get
ridiculous.
companies to pay those prices.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yep.
It's only as expensive as someone's willing to pay for it.
Yeah. Now, you've been following the stuff in Formula One, Red Bull. I don't think Max will be back at Red Bull next year.
Well, there's talks. He's being offered Fernando Alonso's seat
I didn't think he was
at
offered
Aston
a
Martin
seat.
for, I think the speculated number was $400 million.
Okay, well, I thought as of yesterday it was still Alonso and Stroll, and they came out and said Stroll was a great driver. I can't believe this nonsense.
No.
But, yeah,
Whoever thinks Stroll is even better than Tsunoda is mistaken.
yeah.
And Tsunoda's not that good.
Oh, no. Now, I thought Aston Martin got a bunch of money for next year.
They could, yeah. I mean,
They got Honda engines, too.
they always have daddy's money. I don't know if
No, I
Honda-
think somebody beyond him.
Honda might be ending their support of F1 next year. I think. I haven't heard anything recent.
I thought Aston Martin's going to get a Honda engine. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, well.
Or a different company. Who
Okay.
knows?
UFC was uneventful last week. We talked about the draft.
There was a UFC last week.
Well, no, it was 2 weeks ago. It was Volk. But since we did this
Volkanovski.
show, yeah, we blew that pick in a
Someone
couple
said
hours.
him and Max Holloway have never fought an African American dude.
Huh.
And they're, I think, combined like 60 or 80 fights.
I didn't know that. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but we'll go from there. They had the draft, the NFL draft last weekend,
Cam Ward was overall
Yeah.
first round, first pick.
and Shadour Sanders slid to the 5th round. But everything else being said, I think he's got a real good chance to be that starting quarterback by week 6.
Yeah, but I don't think he's cut out.
He
For
better
the
than what they
NFL.
got, man. I mean,
Yeah, but he reminds me of RG3.
no, he better than RG3 because he don't run. RG3 was a runner, and the other thing was RG3 couldn't read a route tree.
Yeah.
He didn't know where people were going. He just slung it.
Which, if you're a quarterback, you should be able to discern the future position of your wide receivers.
Why? Well, but especially if they're
It's
running
kind of the whole
specific
point.
routes.
Yeah.
I think Sanders has got the football IQ. So listen, Deshaun Watson, he's hurt for the year. He won't play. Plus, he's on that big contract they want to get rid of. Joe Flacco's 40, and you already know what you're going to get with him, and it's probably less because he's older.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett, he sucks.
I've never heard Kenny Pickett.
He's a backup, and he was with the Steelers for a while. He come out of Pittsburgh, but he's not an NFL starting quarterback. That Dylan Gabriel kid's not a quarterback.
Don't know that person
So
either.
Sanders could actually be the number 1 quarterback, like I said, by the 6th week.
Yeah, but for the Browns, though.
So what?
Browns aren't that good.
It's the NFL, man.
Yeah, but teams like the Browns. Have they even won a Super Bowl yet?
No.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, but they're an old team. Well, actually, this is a younger team.
Do
'cause
you
it is
think he could get them a
Super
Super Bowl?
No, the Browns aren't good enough to get it to a Super
They won't be
Bowl.
better than the Eagles. I hope
but
we've
they're
seen.
not the same, man. You're not even
I hope
talking
we've
2 teams in
seen-
the same league.
Okay, who cares? I hope we see the end of the Chiefs dynasty, though.
No, not yet. Not until Andy Reid goes, and he should have a good protege come behind him. So we'll see about that.
Isn't it ironic how Philadelphia fired Andy Reid, and then he ended up being the head coach of the team that beats them for the most part in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but Andy Reid couldn't win the big one in Philly. That's why they let him go. And then he got reinvented somewhere else, and he ran his system a little bit better. Plus, listen, don't be light on the fact that he hit a home run with Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Especially in his offense. I mean, that accounts for something. So.
What was I going to say? I don't know. The NFL nowadays.
What are you doing?
Fucking someone was calling me, so I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb to
All
not
right,
disturb.
So NFL nowadays, what?
Who's the quarterback of the Eagles?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. He didn't go to the Super Bowl when the Eagles went earlier this last week.
You mean he didn't
see
go to the
Trump.
White House?
Yeah, the White House. To
Oh.
celebrate winning the Super Bowl.
Why was that?
Why do you think?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm sure he said why.
He actually didn't. He dodged the question when he was asked. He
Well,
just gave
that's
awkward
kinda-
silence.
That's kind of cowardly.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, at least say why you're doing it. All right. Aside from, it's going to be even quicker than last week. Aside from, I guess, everybody going crazy about Trump's 100 days yesterday and how bad everything is. Listen, I was watching the press conference. That dude's done more shit in 100 days than I'm pretty sure Biden did in 4 years, let alone the last 2 years of his presidency.
No, I love people saying he hasn't done anything.
The other part, which is interesting, is there's a lot of fuckery he has to take care of. And it's going to take a while to line it up. That being said, I think the next 100 days will be even more beneficial than the first 100 days. Because you get the trade deals are going to come in, the tax cuts are going to come in, the tax cuts were going to come in, and the budget's going to come in lower. So there's going to be a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, you'll see all the savings from Doge.
And time is your friend as it relates to manufacturing and drilling and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
so I
it
think the
takes a
next
year
100
or two
years,
to spin up.
100 days is going to be great.
100 years.
But everybody's
forever.
going crazy about that. And then the funniest thing is,
I just hope we don't go to war with Iran.
no, we're not going to war with Iran. If anything happens, we're just going to bomb back to the Stone Age at their nuclear facilities. That's what the deal is, man. They cannot be allowed to have nuclear weapons. It's going to be that simple. Either they negotiate a deal that brings them back into the fold, or we drop sanctions on them and we bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Because we got to do it, not the Israelis.
What's your opinion of what's going on between India and Pakistan?
That's just been going on since they
but
called
there
it the
was-
partition,
But
right?
there was a recent terrorist attack in India.
Yeah, they said they were picked off like 20, 30 people. I saw some guy on a zip line. Did you see
Yeah, I
that?
saw that video.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was ziplining through the event,
there's
blissfully
problems
unaware.
everywhere. And that's one of the things you guys should take a look at and do a deep dive. I would challenge you to do the deep dive is
Yeah,
find out about the Kashmir region.
Kashmir.
Yeah, it's the top left corner
Mhm.
between India and Pakistan, and it's disputed. And why it's disputed? Because it was part of the partition.
Mhm.
And
Like the
although I think
DMZ.
it's primarily Muslim, it's held by India, and it should be the other way around. But there was a reason for it. So that land is still in dispute today.
There's
So.
a few areas with the same thing going on.
All over the world. All over the world. Okay. No. So the Maryland man nonsense has died down. And then you're reminded of the Democrats' talking points for the last 2 years when they were trying to legally go after Trump and they said no one's above the law.
Yeah.
Yet they're having a fit with those 2 judges that were arrested. One that was harboring a Venezuelan gang member
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
giving them guns and shit.
That's absurd.
And the other one was
That's so
this
crazy.
highfalutin judge in I think Maine or Connecticut. I think it was one of the 2.
Somewhere in the Northeast.
Who took the ICE guys were in the courthouse, took the criminal out the back
Oh,
and let him go, and they arrested her for obstruction and everything. So
Yeah,
I
no
was
shit.
I was watching the news last week, and they were saying, well, if this proves to be true, she's in trouble. But
That's harboring a fugitive.
but they well, yeah, it's obstruction to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But they go, but they shouldn't have arrested her. They don't need to make a point about this. It's just a judge. So the same people who say no one's above the law is now saying you should give these two cats a break who broke the law.
No one's above the law unless you agree with me.
Did you see her booking photo?
No, what was she
was
smiling?
crying.
Oh, she was crying. I follow this Instagram account called Mug Shouties.
FOFA, man.
Mug Shouties. Like hot women who get arrested.
SAFO, yeah.
So this one woman, she's probably mid-20s, blonde hair, white chick. She gets arrested a second time on purpose a couple months after the first time because the first time she got arrested, her mugshot, she didn't think she was attractive enough. So she intentionally got arrested for a different crime so she could take an attractive mugshot.
What the youth is coming to. That's a perfect example of what's wrong with this fucking place. So
It's not just the youth, though. The old contributed to it. Your generation, the generation before it, setting up the system, which is now kind of falling apart.
no, don't blame that shit on us. There's nobody my age that would tell somebody to get arrested twice because
But no,
so
sure,
much vanity
of
about
course.
the first picture.
But there are a lot of people your age who have done things that have contributed to the society we live in today. Or you're not
Yeah,
going to take
it's
any
called
accountability.
an invention, inventing the internet,
What is
inventing
an invention?
phones. So,
Okay.
All right, where we at now?
Inventing the phone and the internet, which both contributed to
Yeah, you got any?
societies
Alec,
on the fringe.
I'm not in the mood
grouping
for
up.
this today. You got anything else
You're
to
not in
add?
the mood for what? Having a conversation
You got anything else to add?
on what?
The TDS or Dems of the week or
No.
any Karen stuff?
I don't really give
No.
a shit about politics lately.
Then I don't have too much history or cool stuff this week.
I am watching a documentary on the guy that built the Killdozer.
What's that?
You know, in Granby. Fuck, what's this state? But this guy gets screwed over by this town for years and gets fed up and reinforces a Komatsu bulldozer with steel and reinforced concrete, and then just goes on a tirade through the town, bulldozing shit. Like the city town hall, businesses who wronged him, and all the police had to call the National Guard. He caused like close to $1 million in damages just with that fucking bulldozer taking out the town that screwed him over.
Interesting.
You kind of sympathize with the guy too a little bit. Not necessarily condoning what he did, but how he got fucked over
Yeah, how we
by
got
a large
jammed.
entity of like a good old boys club.
No, it would make sense. Definitely makes sense. Well, don't kick her, man. Let her
I'm not
sit.
kicking her. I'm petting her with my foot.
So, all right, with that, we'll go to the book chapters. Just the two of them real quick in the finance section. 27, which is pay yourself first. So the first thing you do is quite simple. Take your 10% and pay yourself. Now, if you're doing a employer-sponsored retirement, get as max as you can. And then if you can, take another 10%, take it and pay yourself and put it away in a Roth. And then worry about the next one, which is chapter 28, which is budgeting.
Yeah, you
And
could
figure out
explain.
you want
well,
a
hold on.
50, 30, 20 or 60, 20, 20.
You could explain why a Roth is better than a traditional IRA.
Well, it depends on what you want to do, but a Roth is after tax. So if you ever have to touch it, you
So
can
it's
eat.
taxed when you put it in.
It was taxed before you put in, so that's why it's after tax. And then that way, if you ever have to action it or touch it, you can. You just have to pay the value of what it increased over time. Where with the SEP IRA, that's pre-tax, and when you take it out, you got to pay the tax on it first. So it just depends on where you want to spend your money. But most people tell you have greater flexibility with a Roth.
Mhm.
And then you go to budgeting, which is the difference between, if you take your 10%, and let's say you do a 50, 30, 20, then the 50 is your needs, which is your housing, your electric, your gas, your insurance, your medical, your food.
Mhm.
And wants is, movies, takeout, vape pens, beer, shit like that. And then
Nice
the other
to-haves.
20 is, towards you, either building your 6-month fund or building your $5,000 fund
Mhm.
or starting to put away extra into savings and investments or just to pay down your debt. So
You know what that reminds me
that's
of?
the trick.
Excel, right? We all are aware of Excel, but do you see the the yearly world championships of the people in Excel?
The
Formatting
spreadsheets?
tables, and yeah,
No.
they're massive competitions,
Oh.
and they garner a
Still?
large viewership. Yeah, and they get
Even with all the other AI and computing power, people are still doing Excel?
yeah.
They're not doing databases
Oh
and
no,
stuff?
Excel is big. Databases serve a separate purpose, but
No, I
Excel
know
is
what
still
they
necessary.
serve. I know. I use Excel all the time, but I didn't think it was that big a deal anymore. But maybe it still is.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
All right. So health hacks. The other day we were talking about cold plunging and sauna and red lighting and stuff like that. This time it'll be just get your base 3 nutrients. Right. I got this for you. Your D3 K2. You got to have K2 with D3 to absorb it. You got to get your omega 3 levels up.
Fish oil.
And fish oil, but we actually use the algae oil because it's pure.
Algae.
It's called algae.
It's algae?
When it's like that, but when it eats it, the fish eat that, and that's what gives them the fish oil. And then, of course, the magnesium. And there's 7 types of magnesium. That's why we do the magnesium breakthrough to make sure you have it all. So if you want 3 supplements to do right away, I would do that.
A lot
now,
of minor
an easy fourth one to add is creatine, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're working out at all, take creatine.
Well, you don't even need it for working out. They say you're supposed to have 5 milligrams a day
Yeah, it's a really good one.
for hydration and muscles and
Magnesium
so forth.
deficiency causes a lot of mundane symptoms that could easily be fixed
Yeah.
just with a
Well,
magnesium supplement.
Plus the
Eye
food and the water
twitching.
we drink and stuff, it's
Mhm.
got all kinds of chemicals in it and shit, and you need magnesium to help stabilize that.
You
to
tell
some
me
degree.
tap water isn't good for you?
Not better than filtered
no
water.
one. If you have the luxury of not having to rely on tap water, don't drink tap
No,
water.
you should be drinking filtered water. If you put one on your fridge, if you have it, otherwise get a pitcher. But and now to remember, when I was a kid, we used to drink out garden hoses all summer long. 'Cause we didn't
I've
go to
done
anybody's
that.
house.
I've done that once or twice.
Fucking, you can tell
Nothing
when
beats
it's
that
been,
cold water
you
in
got-
the summer, though.
You got to let it run first, though,
Yeah.
because ain't nothing worse than hot plastic melted water in your mouth.
You gotta
That's like
give it a minute.
that's almost. I would actually say I had to siphon gas many times.
What?
Yeah, we lived in Africa. My dad taught me how to do that.
Who are you
But-
siphoning gas from?
Whoever we needed to, but
Were they aware?
Yeah, they said.
Oh,
we could
they
get
said you
some.
could siphon
But,
the gas. Okay, that makes it
a
better.
hot hose in the middle of summer with warm water coming out is
Mhm.
actually
That's worse than the taste of gasoline.
yeah, because once the gas hits you, you just spit it out real quick.
Yeah, you've never
Eh,
accidentally swallowed any of it, right?
No.
Or huffed it?
No.
Okay, because that will mess you up.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Well, surprisingly, there's more people than you think who huff gasoline,
Well, that's not good.
even though it deteriorates the brain at a rapid pace.
Right. All right, listen. So we're gonna go with our top 5 list. Yours is actually almost like mine, except for a reorder, and you added the
I
Navy admiral
The Navy guy
and
and
not my general.
a German dude, and I only added him because he was part of the plot to overthrow Hitler.
Yeah, well, I added him for other reasons. Why don't you go ahead and go first? Top 5 World War II generals.
I will start off at number 5 with Patton, number 4 Rommel, number 3 Eisenhower, number 2 Nimitz, and number 1 MacArthur.
Okay. I did mine a little bit different, where I have Erwin Rommel as number 5. But aside from that plot to try to kill Hitler, that's why they killed him, he was the Desert Fox.
Yeah, I
So
saw
for
that.
almost 3 years, he was able to keep the Allies at bay in North Africa. So he
Yeah.
was pretty good. 4, I went with Patton. 3, I went with Montgomery, who was the British Allied commander. 2, MacArthur, and 1, I went with Eisenhower just because he was the boss. So that's how I did it.
I like Nimitz just because he was so successful that they named a class of ship after him,
Yeah.
the Nimitz class.
All right, we're gonna run these, yours and mine, real quick so we can get it all up, right?
Okay.
So the next one is top 5 school lunches in public school.
Yeah.
I will go first. Number 5, grilled cheese. Number 4, fantastic Salisbury steak. Number 3, sloppy joes. Number 2 was either a cheeseburger or a hamburger, and number 5 is the pizza, a little 4x6-inch pizza, and those were all doubles for me.
The rectangular pizza.
Yeah.
Always.
What you
double.
got?
All right. Number 5, I have lasagna. Number 4, grilled cheese. Number 3, sloppy Joe. Number 2, pizza. Number 1, I am cheating here, but anytime you get fast food.
Yeah.
Because we went to public schools, so we didn't have the luxury of a private school. And whenever you came to that school cafeteria with McDonald's or Wendy's, everyone's shooting you looks because they're eating shit, and you're like, well, look what I got.
Yeah, I remember. I graduated high school in 85, but you used to be able to, like, if you had your dentist appointment in the morning, you roll into lunch, and if you bring that in, you're right, everybody. But in 1985, unless you were closer in town, shit, you only had fast food stuff to get lunch. You didn't have all these delis. Subway wasn't even around yet, not where we were. I went till a couple years later.
Towards the end of senior year, it got to the point where I could just drive to that area with Glory Days and get Wendy's and come back. And the resource officer would just open the door, the side door of the school back to let me in. And just go, oh, hey, Alec, how's it going? Which is a total violation and breach of protocol.
Yeah, shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing that.
That was also 10 years ago. So the landscape has changed for schools a lot.
All right. Okay, well, like I said, we're moving quick. So book of the week, I got Rick Edelman. He's a financial planning guy up in McLean, Virginia. Truth About Money was his first big book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but if
in
you guys
McLean.
want to learn about money and how money works, which you should, right? We're talking about you taking control of your body, your mind, your spirit, but your parents, but also your finances. So Truth About Money, Rick Edelman.
In a capitalist society, you need to know about money.
Yep. What you got?
I wouldn't have it any other way with socialism. I have the Pacific Crucible,
What's that about?
which is about the Pacific Front of World War II,
Okay.
with the Americans island hopping against the Japanese.
Yeah, after they did it first, right? So it's reverse order, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good book.
All right. Movies, TV series. I got Peaky Blinders as a series. I watched that first episode like 15 minutes in about 4 years ago, and I'm like, not for me. But then about 2 years ago, I did it again, and I watched it all through in a week.
Dude, I remember watching
Great series.
I remember watching it not too far away from where you're seated when I had the TV right up on that wall before I moved out. First episode, all I could think to myself is, what the fuck are they saying? Especially that gypsy cockney. Oh, you want to fucking do it? But once I got past that, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's a great one.
What's funny is it piqued this whole movement of dudes, grooms during weddings to dress up like the Peaky Blinders for their bachelor parties.
That's stupid.
It's very dumb. Whenever your fandom of something gets to the point where you dress up, you're kind of extreme. So I guess I'm coming at everybody who cosplays.
Yeah,
But
you should.
You telling me a furry is mentally sound? I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it.
Not at all. All right, who you got?
They're perverted. So, directed by Mike Judge, Idiocracy. When
Is that
Terry
the one with the
Crews-
buttfuckers place?
Yeah, buttfuckers instead of fuckruckers.
With the Gatorade on the crops?
Yeah, Brando. That's what it was called. It was called
is that what
Brando.
it's called?
Yeah. Brando has electrolytes.
Yeah,
And
that was
Terry
a stupid
Crews-
movie.
Terry Crews was President
Oh,
Komatsu.
the chick from Bridesmaids was in that too.
Which one?
The heroine.
Oh, yeah.
She started as a stripper and
She was in Bridesmaids.
yeah.
Surprisingly good movie, Bridesmaids.
Yeah. Well, I think the Twig lady did a fantastic job, but I think the McCarthy lady stole it.
Yeah, that was back when she was a heavy set.
It's when she had the shit scene.
Yeah.
That was good.
It doesn't come close to the shit scene from Hall Pass, though.
Oh no.
When she sneezes
Yeah.
and blows up the
Yeah,
shower.
that was a good one. That was a good
Man.
one.
But so, a funny story about Idiocracy. They wanted a shoe that looked futuristic but dumb, and they found Crocs before they came out. And then they came out after the movie was filmed, but before it was released, and they became a massive success.
Oh.
And the director, Mike Judge, was like, I got these shoes because I thought no one was going to wear them. So everyone's rolling
Oh.
around in
Well, did you see
in
that kid,
Crocs.
Ashton Gentry, with the number 6 pick, the number 1 guy for the Raiders?
No.
He came to the NFL draft wearing Crocs. I think he had a design on one of them.
People are saying Cam Ward, because he was dressed respectfully, is going to play 20 years of Pro Bowl football.
Well, I don't know if that's got anything to do with how you dress nice, but
Your composure,
you,
your
you
demeanor.
could you could do well. I mean, quarterbacks can play 20 years.
I mean, Kirk Cousins.
Hard.
Kirk Cousins is still making a ton of money.
Yeah, sitting on the bench, and that's what's bothering them. But what are you gonna do? Speaking of the draft, so my bitch of the week is Mel Kiper.
I'd pay that much.
Oh,
pay
only
that
because I like him with all the draft stuff, but that guy went apoplectic every time nobody took Shadour Sanders.
much. Yeah.
And they actually, guys on his own show had to like talk him down and get him to shut up a couple times. So I got your point, man. But he just went on and on and on. And that
Some
just
people are
meets the
one-trick ponies.
classic definition that we put in the book, man. You got to shut up.
Did you see before,
Because he wasn't wrong, but after he said it 25 times in 3 hours, you're like, dude, I don't want to hear this no more.
Yeah, give it up. Have you seen what's going on with Shannon Sharpe lately?
Yeah, I've heard and seen some stuff, but I don't know if it's right or if he's done it or if it's just sensationalistic. But I think
Lay
he
off
got
the snow buddies,
I think he
Shannon.
got in trouble with ESPN too. I don't know if he's still there or not.
Yeah.
But look, that's what happens when you're 55 and you're dating 25-year-olds.
And he's
First off,
his
you
wife's
shouldn't
caught
be
him cheating multiple
you
times.
shouldn't be 55 dating a 25-year-old. I don't care what anybody
Nah.
says. That's not natural.
It was a OnlyFans chick. He said he was going to choke her in the street in public on a phone call. She recorded.
No, I heard it. It was terrible. They have an old rule that they always say that keeps you out of trouble. It's half your age plus 7.
Yeah.
And that'll keep you out of the danger zone. That doesn't mean women in that age group, the new age group that you're going after, aren't dangerous. There's a danger zone when they're way too young and you're way too old.
I just avoid
That's why I like
anyone-
Bill Belichick. He's 72 and his girlfriend's 24. I'm not sure about that one.
Well, there's Leonardo DiCaprio who won't date anyone past the age of 25.
Which is cool until
You can
you're about 38.
I can kind of respect it. He's Leonardo DiCaprio. He'll be doing that shit until
You can't end up dating people as young as your kids or younger than your kids. That's just not.
I don't think he has kids, though. I think he just
Doesn't
runs
matter.
around.
50-year-old men should not be dating 20-year-old women. That's my opinion.
Well, dude, if I was 50, when I'm 50 years old, I'll be lucky to date a 21-year-old. But that's my
Yeah.
cutoff. I can't do anyone under 21.
Nah, I couldn't do it.
And by the time I'm 30,
Couldn't do it.
I don't know. You got to deal with how fucking dumb they are, though. And I'll admit, I was dumb at 21, too.
Anybody can be dumb at
And I
any
kind of
age,
talked it like an
but
idiot.
they're also inexperienced. And I'm not talking sexually stuff. I'm just talking real world stuff. You got to
Yeah.
be able to hold a conversation without somebody saying like a million times
You
or
listen
looking
to
at their
these-
phone a
and
million
you listen
times.
to these people. Ooh.
Oh,
That's your life. That's what you have when you
Yeah.
wake up and when you go to
Nah.
bed.
nope.
Pass.
I think somebody within like 15, maybe 20 years junior than you. I would say 15 junior than you and maybe 5 older than you. There's a 20-year range. That should be plenty good.
The stories that always warm my heart are the young women, i.e., in their 30s and 40s, marrying dudes in their 70s, because they think they're gonna die and they'll get all their money, and then the dude in his 70s outlives the 30 or 40-year-old woman.
I have never seen that happen, but
I have a few times.
hey, love is blind. Love is blind. All right, who's your bitch of the week?
Shadour Sanders.
Why is that?
Yeah, I don't like him.
Okay.
He's pompous. A lot of people have come out and said he's disrespectful. I don't think he's good.
Well, time will
He
tell
got-
about that.
He's lucky he got drafted. I've heard the
Oh, he's not lucky he got drafted.
fair.
He's
I
good.
heard Colorado's unretiring his number.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
That'd be funny.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna put some money on him this year about when he'll be a starting quarterback
I don't.
and
I
what he can do.
gotta. I haven't done sports betting in 6 months.
Yeah, we should take a look at that and get ready. All right,
Just
so
lose money.
we ought to get Dan here next week or the week after. And then next week we'll spend
Just
a little
have
bit.
him talk for half an
Yeah.
hour.
Well, how about we spend a little bit more time, or we'll get something a little bit more developed for next week.
Well, we need, and I know you've tasked me with thinking about this, but we need stuff to talk about other than politics.
Well,
We've
I
kind of
understand
grown
that. That's
born
why
of
there's
politics.
3 things in there, and
We
I'm
did talk about
expecting you
World War
to
II.
do that. But
I tried to
but let's just
start
pick
the
some.
Killdozer.
Let's just pick some subjects, and we'll go from there,
Okay.
and we'll get it in. All right. Well, with that, Delilah, do you want to say goodbye? Delilah slept the whole time through, huh, baby?
Yeah. She's
Rescue
probably our
dogs.
most engaged listener.
Get a chance, rescue a dog or a cat. Get them altered though too.
I was
Although
thinking
you gotta check when you do that.
I was
their
thinking about
age.
getting a lizard last week. But I
Your
can't-
cats will eat it.
Yeah, Bingus would eat the lizard.
They'll find a way to get in there. Plus, you don't leave your doors closed all the time. So, all right.
Yeah.
With that, we'll shut down episode 19. We'll see you on the big episode 20 on Saturday. All right. Thanks a lot.
Disclaimer for Generations Unplugged with Big Kel and Kahuna. This is a podcast created for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the hosts and guests. Topics like health, fitness, financial well-being, and personal development are discussed based on individual perspectives and are not intended as professional medical, financial, or psychological advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions related to health, lifestyle, or finances. Each person's journey is unique, and results may vary. The creators of Generations Unplugged disclaim any liability for actions taken based on the content of this podcast. Remember, informed decisions and expert guidance are key to building a fulfilling and balanced life.